Hello, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of introducing you to people in my life that I just kind of, really love. And this episode is somebody that is integral to the Ben lore. She's a person that's been with me every single moment of every single day, since I started college. She's somebody who everyone loves. You know her if you're in my life. Faith.
Hey guys.
Yes, we had a little bit of a mix-up because I'm new to this whole introductive podcast type stuff, so we had a little bit of a mix-up on
the garage band is being weird.
I'm on GarageBand, but yeah. So this week or this interview is with Faith. Faith, everyone knows her in my life, and today I'm just gonna be talking about. We're just gonna have a conversation. Not really any, like I always say, not really a huge spectacle. We're just gonna talk because I think that a lot of the conversations I have with people in my life are very interesting. We'll see where that goes. And Faith, thank you for joining us.
Of course, I'm happy to be here. I'm finally on the podcast, guys.
Yes, so
this has been in the works for
this has been in the works for a long time, and we filmed a couple before this.
We filmed, I think, one that was wicked long.
Yeah.
What year or so ago?
Had to have been almost 2 years ago.
Yeah, because we were at your old house.
Yeah.
And I told him, I was like, that one cannot go anywhere, just because we kept goofing off and talking.
Yeah.
And it was fun though.
It was fun. It was a good genesis to how this all started. It was you could tell I was super uncomfortable in front of the camera. I'm also still not really comfortable in front of the camera, but I try to do as much as I can to seem as normal as possible, and that'll come with experience. But I don't want to talk about me. I want to talk about Faith. So, Faith, how did we meet? If you want to tell the people, because I think that'd be a big thing, because Faith has the memory of a computer.
I try.
So if you want, especially, sorry, I know I just want to say one last thing to anybody out there that knows her, because I mentioned her to all types of my friends. This is the origin story. Faith, how did we meet?
I'm long time ago, man.
Yeah.
Freshman year of college, literally, it was our first year seminar class. I think it was the first class of college, and I remember going into it. It was one of those classes that you had to take a first year seminar. So obviously I was I don't know. I picked, I think, something in film.
Yeah.
And then we ended up in nihilism.
Yeah. We did
which
nihilism.
out of all things is basically nothing matters in life. But
it is very existentially dreadful.
Yeah, but I still remember walked to my seat or whatever, and then it's funny, our friend Blake and our friend Justin were in the class, but Ben was behind me, and then he started talking about his brother and his sister.
Yeah.
And how his brother was from Fairfield or going to school in Fairfield. And then that was our first class, and then it's funny because later that night,
that's what I wanted you to talk about.
Later that night,
I love the nihilism story, but I like this part.
No, it's literally, we'll probably talk about it a lot, how not so much the invisible string, but how fate just kind of.
We will talk about that.
Yeah. But I went with a couple of my friends at the time to the dining. I forgot the name of it.
The caf.
Yeah, the cabaret, which is now whatever it is. But we were at the cabaret, and I remember I was in line, and then Ben pops up behind me, and he's like, "Oh, Sarah, right?"
Yeah. I was wondering if you'd remember what I called you.
No, I remember the amount of times I got called wrong names in college.
Yeah, we have a bunch of stories about that, but but I met you there, and then
that was basically our origin story. Because then after that, every time in class, we would just start talking, and then he sat originally behind me, and then he moved to sit next to me.
Yeah,
and then we would just goof off the whole class, and I think that was our origin story of being oh, we have the same humor. And
and then from there, it's been history. You've been with me at my side for every single part of my life, and
every day almost.
Yeah, pretty much.
In college,
pretty much every day.
Attached to the hip.
Yeah, it was like I didn't go anywhere without you. You didn't go anywhere without me.
Yeah,
and even if it was something crazy, Faith doesn't. I don't know if you want.
no,
you don't.
Fine,
Faith does not drink, so she doesn't drink. She doesn't smoke. So even if I was late at the bar, 3 a.m., being oh, she'd be there, looking after me because
I got you. I'll bring you back safe and sound.
Drunk idiot, but
I'm even if mayor security told you couldn't come up and visit.
Oh yeah, that was crazy. So, I'm gonna let you do a lot of speaking, but that was an interesting
ghost story.
That was
that.
Okay,
if there's one thing that makes our friendship a fabric in time sewn in reality.
Oh, I was thinking of the one that you experienced, but no, the ghost story it was like we became like
linked
that in,
for
linked
life
in the universal
because every
timeline. Yeah,
thing, like single thing that could have gone wrong in the universe went wrong until finally like
dude, that's like
snapped.
my favorite story in the world.
Long story short, basically our friend Chris Boris is like a conjuring spirit.
He's
to,
like a conduit,
other
a conduit
spirits.
for demons and stuff.
Yeah, so he like called you and like said like a ghost story to Ben.
I could tell a little bit of it.
Yeah, you can tell a little bit of it too. Because for a lot of the story, I was like half asleep.
Yeah. So what happened was, to make it, not super long, was so 3 a.m. is the witching hour. So Chris Bors is one of our good friends. Maybe I won't blank out his last name. You can look him up on white pages, whatever. So he doesn't go to school anymore, but he's texts me over Snapchat and goes, Ben, holy shit. I just saw a demon. I just like saw a demon, like demonic face, like holy shit. And it was 3 a.m. He goes, it's 3 a.m. I can't fucking believe this. So I'm the only one that's up at 3 a.m. So I couldn't believe that it was happening. And me, I'm like, holy shit. Like I'm the only one experiencing this. I'm going to be the only one to experience this. Like I need to like tell someone before, I drive myself insane with this, because that's just the person I am. So I, of course, drag the only person that I know that like not only
guilty.
likes this stuff, but like will be there for me. It's 3 a.m. and I run over to Faith's apartment complex where she's living at the time, and I go up and I'm banging on her door. She's not waking up.
Also,
like
he could
3 a.m.
barely get in because the rule was in our freshman dorms, you couldn't get, like, if you were from another college campus door, you couldn't go to another dorm past a certain time. I think it was like 1 a.m.
It must have been 1 a.m.
Yeah,
or
it was
something
like
like
1
that.
a.m. Or no, it was 3 a.m. because the witching hour, he called you. So it was like, that was literally, he just made it like 5 minutes after that. He ran over to Leo.
Yeah.
And the security guard was kind enough to let him up at that time of night.
Yeah, I always remember that guy. He let me in, and I was like, I really need my friend. And he was like, yeah. So I go up, I'm banging on her door, and I'm like, oh my God. I can't be you know what? I mean, maybe people watching this will know what I'm talking about, or listening. That's just like, you don't want to be the only one to experience something sometimes. You want to like experience it with other people because you want to make sure you're not fucking crazy. And so I am banging on the door. She's not answering. I like go to her neighbor. Excuse me. I go to her neighbor, and her neighbor is like, all right, we have this code where like if I knock on her door, if I knock on the wall, she'll wake up no matter what. And I get like Zoe and Bella. Shout out to Zoe and Bella. They're out there. And they knocked on the thing, and Faith comes out. She's like, what happened?
Like, what
and I was like,
happened?
Faith. So then from there, I just told her the entire story, and like she was like, "Oh my God!" I was like, "Please tell me, like I'm okay." Everyone knows who knows
I'm like,
me.
you're okay.
Yeah,
like you're good.
I'm a wimp when it comes to the supernatural. I think it's interesting, but I'm very, very cowardly to it. I'm very it's scary stuff because you can't grasp it, so it's hard to like.
It's the unknown.
Exactly. So I talked to her about that, and then ever since then, I just kind of said like that was our universe moment, and like that was when like I wasn't supposed to get in touch with her, and I was supposed to experience that on my own.
Alone,
but
and you
we
did it.
broke the timeline, and I experienced it with her. So it's like now we're forever linked.
Yeah, and it was crazy
like,
how many things went wrong for you not to get me in the first place, because I always slept with my like ringer on. For some now I do.
Yeah.
Always have my ringer on.
Ever since then, she slept with the ringer on.
I slept with my ringer on, which has saved me down the line a lot of times too. But for some reason that night I had it off. I knocked out.
Mm-hmm. And you wouldn't wake up. You always wake up.
And I'm not that sound of a sleeper, so that was also an issue where I was like, what was going on?
Yeah.
And then like you said, Zoe and Bella, we shared a wall, so I knew as soon as they would knock, like even during the day they would knock, I'd go over there.
Yeah.
And the fact that like my ear was right up to the wall, like the way I was sleeping, for them to just bang twice, and then immediately go outside, and it was just like,
it was crazy. It was a wild thing, and I'm so glad that happened, because ever since then I just kind of like, I don't know.
That was like solidifying.
That was just solidifying.
Not that we weren't great friends before, but that was like, I experienced the universe.
Yeah, I experienced something that,
and now we're here.
But now we're here. So that's another great story. But
origin story.
So ever since then, she's been there with me all the time. Faith. So, what is something that you think makes you, and that if someone were to come up to you after seeing this and go, oh my God, you're Faith, what would you want them to know about you? That maybe you could like start up a conversation, all that kind of stuff.
I know, that's it could be a deep rooted question too, but I don't know. I feel like I'm just I like to be funny. I like to have a good time.
It's true.
I really like music. That's one of my like main things. I like music, I like video games. I am very go with the flow. I think that's one of the most things that I like people to know about me. Like I'm very, you want to go out and go on like a random trip to Costa Rica. I'm like, all right, let's go. Let's do this. Like drop anything at the whim. Obviously now I have a job, so I can't really do that.
We'll get into that.
I'm like, don't worry, guys. We'll get into that. Yeah, but I don't know. I'm just like free spirit. I have the airplane tattoo on the inside of my arm because when I was younger, I was like, yeah, just go with the flow, like paper airplane, throw me. You don't really know where I'll end up.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of always been your thing, is that you're also very kind. So it's like you're very like you're very going with the flow with like everything you do, and whether it's like, you know, helping people, whether it's going to Costa Rica on a whim.
Yeah.
Would you say that that's something you've always been like, or was there like a certain time in your life where you kind of you realized like you kind of had to change your ways because you realize like, I don't know, being nice is better than, you know, being easy. Being nice is like so.
I know
it's like simple as that. Or
we used to talk about that. I think like me being nice is a two-sided coin because a lot of times in college, which I know now, like I think I would get taken advantage of a lot because I was so kind, and in the sense like someone would ask me because I don't drink, like people would ask me for rides when I was younger, not like senior year, I would give everyone a ride, but they'd be like, oh, give me a ride, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right. Like, and then they would like never talk to me again or certain stuff where like friend groups fall apart, but other things would happen, which I don't really want to like put people under the bus. So
I mean, if you don't want to mention names, but like some people took that kindness for like a weakness that they can exploit in you.
Yeah.
And you kind of, you know, being the person you were and being next to you at that whole time, you didn't want to. You felt like it was, you know, kind of against your character to say no to that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I think it was. I'm like, okay, if someone asked me like anything, I'd be like, oh yeah, like that's fine, like I'll do it, I'll like, let's go here. But if I said no, I would be fearful that someone would be like, oh my god, Faith's like not nice anymore. And now I'm like, as I've grown up, I'm like, okay, like I'll do whatever I want to do, but also I'm still that person where obviously you ask, like Nick, Justin, Morgan, Claire, like all our close friends, you know who you are. I would literally drop like loyalty too. That's a big one. Where like I'll drop anything for anyone.
This is true.
I think yes. I think that comes from like my like dad and my family, because my dad always growing up, he was always that person where it's like anyone needed anything, he'd be like, all right, I'll be there. Like, don't worry, like I'll help.
He's still like that.
Yeah, he's still like that too.
He still is.
Yeah, he very much is. But yeah, I mean, that's.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I'm just trying to. So yeah, that's been something you've always been instilled in. I mean, your dad and your mom have been together for a long time, so it's like that's also been like that's been another thing. And like I just like being around them, I could see that like loyalty and being a good person and really thinking about others, especially with your father. And you know, I don't have many conversations with your mom when I come over, just because I'm too busy talking to your dad. Oh
yeah, my dad talks a lot. I think that's where I also get it from.
Yeah, exactly. And like he's very much a like very kind man. So I mean, it's good to it's interesting kind of like getting your, you know, origin on all that. And you know, some people are just raised.
Yeah, right. It's also funny because like I think I see in my parents, like their relationship transfers a lot to how I view my like friendships, because like they are so close. Obviously they've been married for how many ever years, but seeing that growing up and then that transferring to like finding good solid friends, you're like, I never want to lose these people in my life, so I'm gonna do everything to make sure like I keep them.
Hell yeah. Something also I love in you is that you love music. Faith is a big music person. Has music been something that has helped you through a lot of your life, whether through the ups and downs, or is it something that you kind of just did like just as like a kind of just a fuck off and not really do a bunch of, and just kind of like fuck off? Well, which one of those things do you think it would be?
I think it's like kind of mixture of both, because I didn't get into music until like, I always liked music. Obviously, like growing up, you listen to music, you listen to like the little Disney Channel songs on the radio, and I'm like, okay. But I didn't really start. I thank my parents again, because they got me my first guitar for Christmas. It was like an electric guitar, which is funny because no one really starts with an electric guitar.
That is crazy.
I think I was nine or 10, and then didn't know how to play it. So I tried to like look up videos, and then I told my mom, I was like, oh, I want to take guitar lessons. And she was like, yeah, sure. So we actually got me like an acoustic guitar, which I still have the same one. It's not actually here.
Oh, is that the Ed Sheeran one?
That's the Ed Sheeran one that they also got me. But my original guitar that I've had since I was probably 11 or 12.
Is it downstairs?
No, it's in Boston, actually. But
Burn out yourself.
Yeah.
That's where she lives.
I do live in Boston. We can get into that in a little bit too.
All right, yeah. After this, I want to talk about music.
Yeah,
music's a big part of your life. A big part of my life.
Yeah, so I got my guitar and then I just started playing it, taking lessons. Long story short, I stopped playing after I think like a year of lessons because I like to be like very independent in certain stuff.
Yeah.
And then I kind of like dropped it for a little bit and then I switched to taking drum lessons because drums are so sick.
Yeah.
And then I actually was like, okay, I like drums, so why am I not still playing my guitar? And I would look up YouTube videos of how to like play certain chords, play this, and then I started writing music in probably like 8th grade. Obviously, 8th grade, you think of like dumb little tunes and whatnot, but I think it was like freshman year that I actually picked up my guitar and like started to actually think of words, like how I was feeling, because transitioning from 8th grade from a small school to go to a huge school, high school wise, was a lot. And that brings me back to your question that you asked. I think music has got me through a lot of tough times in that sense because I can channel my feelings into song rather than just like going around like thinking like these thoughts, which I still do today. Like I have a lot of thoughts and sometimes they like grasp my brain so hard. And like even Nick knew in college, I would always tell you too, if you heard me playing like or heard me playing my guitar in college at like a certain hour, you know, like I was in that headspace trying to write or just trying to like make me feel better. Yeah. Because when I'm stressed out, as soon as I grab my guitar, like it all goes away somewhat, like somehow. Yeah. Which I am so thankful for. And it is kind of like therapeutic in a way to be able to create music, which I'm so thankful that I can do that because like, I mean, anyone, if you're feeling that way, you can always, if you ever want to pick up an instrument, pick up this or that. We're having audio technical difficulties.
So, as I said before, I'm still a rookie at this. I have no clue what I'm doing. And we had a little bit of technical difficulties, but we're going to be back on it. Thank you if you're still here. Yeah. There's a burp.
Ooh.
There's a burp for you.
We'll cut that in. We'll cut that in.
I think you kind of know. If you forgot where we were, I could tell you. But we were talking about how music's such a big part of your life, and that you would like to use music therapeutically. Yes. And then from there, I can let you get back into what you were saying.
Yeah, it just helps me a lot. Like I don't even know I started writing songs. It's funny though because I have so many voice memos in my phone from like college, from high school. Just I'll think of like lyrics or notes at work and I'll just immediately put on my voice memos and then half the time like that never ends up going anywhere. Yeah. Because I feel like my mind is so go all the time and the one time it calms down is to write music and I don't know why sometimes I can never finish a song because I have so many new ideas and it like frustrates me because I'm like, okay, I'm thinking of this song and then I have to think of that song and that's why you can go in my voice memos and half of the songs are like 35 seconds each. Yeah. They're good though, the 35 seconds, I think. I
mean, I've heard them. I've heard some of them. I really like them. And I know you say one of your biggest problems is scatterbrain. Yes. You feel like you like want to work on one thing and then you start it. Like you said, you start on a 35-second song or you start doing chords or you start doing lyrics and you put it in your computer. But after working on it for a day, you're like, okay, I do different stuff.
Yeah, you're like, okay, yeah, I do it. And then I'm like, okay, this is kind of banger. And then while I'm recording that song, I'll do a riff. Like if I'm playing my electric guitar, I'll do a riff and I'll be like, whoa, this sounded good. Does not.
I prefer really not to speak. If I speak, I am in big trouble. In big trouble.
Hey guys.
What happened is, again, without our producer Rose, picture of Rose right here. She's my producer. She's my sister. She's the person that was here last time. She knows how to do all this stuff. Not to say Faith doesn't know how to do all this stuff, but when it comes to
confusing.
All this stuff, she knew what she was doing. It worked smoothly, and then I messed it up inevitably. But when it comes to music, you are saying that it is like therapy. It is like therapy, and that we have you have scatterbrain. Scatterbrain being like you start a song and then realize that one chord sounds really good, and you start another one, so you never finish that other one. Yeah. Is that something that you experienced a long time ago, or a lot recently, or like how was that implemented and weaved into your life?
I think scatterbrain is also affected by the feelings in which I'm writing a song. Because obviously you can write like a song on positive, like just vibes. But I feel like I write better coming from experience or something happening.
Yeah.
So if I'm like writing a song just purely based on it sounding good, I'm like, okay, this sounds good. But then it also in my brain, when I hear another note, that I'm like, oh, this sounds good too, and it fits more so the song I'm writing. And then I'll keep going back and forth, back and forth. Long story short, scatterbrain.
No, I'm listening. No, yeah. So it's probably annoying when it comes to your creative process.
Yeah.
It's like you keep hitting, you're kind of playing Pong in your head, like, oh, this is good, but this is also good. And what kind of song do I want to make? Do you ever feel like you ever burp into the mic? That's what I do.
Burping in the mic. We just had Oneyville too.
Yeah,
So
where are you from?
I'm from Rhode Island originally.
So this is where we are
This is
staying
where we're here right now.
We're in Rhode Island, and we went to
Oneyville, which is like a hot weenie place. You can get good burgers there, fries, coffee milk. I'm like, the coffee milk.
The coffee milk was
Rhode
fire.
Island.
It was really good. It was really, really good. It's literally just like if you took like a milkshake that was like coffee, and then you just melt it down. That's like and like the milk on the bottom. That's like what it tasted like.
Dunkin's trying to recreate it, but it's not
Really?
working. Yeah, with the like Dunkel latte that they're trying to make.
Dumb.
It's not good though.
Some would say that's even gay.
Whoa.
Just kidding. We're pro gay on this show. We'll get into
I'm
that.
like, we can say that because I'm like, hey guys, this is Ben's.
This is Ben's coming out
story.
podcast. No, I have a beautiful girlfriend that I love very much.
Yeah.
Oh, I had one. Anyways.
Yeah. Anyway.
More to you. More about you.
Like therapy session actually cut the
No,
cameras.
no. What I want to keep talking about is so there's the music, and that's something that I know that is super big with you, and then I know you're also because you're big into consuming media because you're a creative, kind of like my sister, and that's why I wanted to get you on here so bad. Like my sister, you kind of take influence from everything.
Yeah.
What would you say was a big influence coming up? What like in 3 stages of your life when you were a kid, like when you were like kind of. I guess in a teen and then recently, because I know recently
I'm like teen.
Adult stuff.
When I was a teen, I already have one of mine. But
yeah. Or you could just go straight to teen. Whatever you want.
Teen. I'm like, if y'all know me, I had a manic like
I know.
obsession with Fifth Harmony. Shout out Fifth Harmony. Gay Awakening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like purely obsessed with Fifth Harmony. Anything I did, loved Fifth Harmony. Like people knew me at my high school. They were like, "Oh yeah, anything Fifth Harmony related." They'd be like, "Faith, oh my god, what's going on with Fifth Harmony in like today's world?" I literally had a phone case that said, "Fifth Harmony is better than you."
You creepy, bro.
Yeah, that was like 15 like Tumblr-esque phases going on, which I was also big into the YouTube scene.
Yes.
But yeah, Fifth Harmony was probably a good influence. That's also like music at the end of the day. Like it just all comes back to music.
Yeah.
But they like took over my life.
Jesus
I had a huge like Twitter account with them. Anytime they went up.
I was gonna say, didn't you run like a Stan account?
Yeah, I ran a Stan account on Twitter. I had like good followers too.
Did you have
and,
like 10,000 followers?
I don't know. I had like 5,000, I think. I don't know. It was lower, like around that. But I was pretty good in the Stan culture, Yeah,
you were early.
Yeah, anytime Fifth Harmony was like running for awards, I ran that shit like the army. Like you could not tell me. I woke up, vote for Fifth Harmony, VMAs. Anyone watching this at Fifth Harmony, the VMA award versus 5 Seconds of Summer.
Did they go?
They
bar
won.
For bar?
They won.
They went after each other.
They like the fans were going at it, and we're like,
sweet.
5 Seconds of Summer are only gonna win because they're men. And I was like, well, you know what? They didn't win.
We don't support the patriarchy. We support Fifth Harmony.
I mean, 5 Seconds of Summer, they had good songs, But yeah.
I don't think that was good. They didn't have a song with Ty Dolla $ign though.
They didn't have a song with Ty Dolla $ign, and they cannot recreate Miss Moving On.
That was a good song.
Like
dude.
AI cannot recreate Miss Moving On. You cannot tell me that song started their career, other than being on X Factor, obviously.
I didn't know they were on X Factor.
Yeah. That's where they all started. They started as individual artists, like kind of like One Direction, and then Simon Cowell.
He did that. Yeah, he did like Fifth Harmony too.
There was debate in the fandom with Fifth Harmony because Demi Lovato at the time was also on X Factor, and she throughout the years would try to take credit for like making Fifth Harmony, which I do think she had a little bit of a part in.
I didn't know that she was on X Factor.
Yeah, that was like peak
X Factor.
Peak X Factor, guys. Yeah. So good. But yeah, that was my like influence and hyperfixation as a teen growing up, and kind of like freshman year, like obviously, like I said, high school. And then I'm like trying to think when I was younger influences. But even before Fifth Harmony, like I said, I was a big YouTuber.
Yeah.
Like growing up, Minecraft videos were all I watched. Stampy Longnose.
Yeah.
And then like I Ballistic Squid.
Yeah.
I literally have a picture of them when I went on their Minecraft server.
That's my favorite picture of all time.
Yeah.
Actually, no. I have a better picture of. I may put it on. Can I show the Sword in the Stone one?
Oh my god, that's guys! I look so gay in that. Like that's literally
that is my favorite photo.
That you can edit.
If it's up here,
yeah.
If it is up here, you'll see it. People that are listening. It's a picture of Faith when she's 10.
I don't even know.
She's
like
wearing
I
a
was probably
backwards
like
hat.
12. I had a Young and Reckless shirt on.
Yeah.
If you remember Fantasy Factory, that was like I think Chris that was the brother's name. I don't know. That was his brand.
Yeah.
And I was big into skateboarding too when I was younger. Another influence, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
What's got me into snowboarding.
That's my favorite picture. And it's
it's archived on my Instagram, but the caption was "This is so hard," and I was like, "Whoa!" Growing up, I was like, "That's not what you should like caption a gay photo."
Hey
like,
yo!
Pause.
No, yeah,
pause.
that is my favorite photo.
I'm not fruity.
Hey,
Bing bong, bing bong.
we support the fruit. We cultivate fruit here.
Bountiful fruit.
We have a lot of fruit here. We love the fruit on this podcast.
Yeah.
Anyways. Yes. So also that skateboarding and stuff. You're also wasn't something I really wanted to talk about because you're a big fan of it. You're a huge movie person, and like I know that everyone watches movies, but like you have a like you're not. It's not that you're watching like Johnny Doomdang's like small cult hit that was like a 2005. Like you watch like
where
regular.
I'm like, guys, it's just you're misunderstood.
Exactly.
Guys. Like, just rewatch the film.
Exactly. And like you're not like that. But you watch a lot of movies and you have a lot of. I feel like a lot of that comes into like your personality.
Yeah.
Things you like to read, things you like to write. Obviously, but I mean, I want to talk about that. So like.
Movies and TV shows.
Yes.
Like,
if you don't mind talking about that.
That's also when I was like obsessed with CW shows as a teen. Like there was even in college, I had a list of all TV shows I watched. Like Monday night would be I don't even know, like Flash would come out.
It was psychotic.
Tuesday, like Chicago Fire. Like what like college kids watching Chicago Fire. My dad liked Chicago Fire.
I was gonna say you did watch that with your dad.
Yeah, but
he's still with us. We're just
it's
just not on the. It's just not on the.
He's not on the
anymore.
podcast, guys.
He's not here.
Maybe he'll make an appearance.
You did watch it, but like you could watch it. Potentially.
And then
Anyways.
like Legacies and The Walking Dead when I used to watch it. Just big media consumption. But going back to movies, I'm not like I don't have a letterbox. Like people always say that's like funny for me not to have a letterbox, which is where you like as soon as you see a movie, you write it down, write the rating. I had one at like 1 point, and then I just never used it because I'm just one of those people that I'll remember the movie if I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But like I said, never seen Oppenheimer. Like I'm not one of the film people that need to see like all the high valued like grossing movies. If I see a movie that's gonna be like funny, classic, like there's a movie called Bottoms, great movie. Why is it called that though? Or Bodies. Like it's kind of similar cast. Great movie. Like Abigail that came out last year. Like the horror. It's kind of like comic horror, but just like those movies are not movies that like film buffs would go to see. But those are like some of my favorite movies. Like I'm not deep diving.
Well, what is
into
your favorite
like
movie?
neat?
I know your favorite movie, or at least your favorite film franchise.
Film franchise. Scream.
Yeah.
Scream. I could talk about Scream hours, days, weeks, years. I love that franchise. I'm pissed about what they're doing with the next one because it's like the cast, Jenna Ortega, Melissa Barrera, great additions to the Scream franchise for 5 and 6, and they're just throwing them out the window for 7, basically scrapping all the cast that was in 5 and 6. And it just, I could talk about that and it's in a podcast for itself for hours, but Scream, like, I love horror movies too. Yeah. And Scream, you can say Scream is like categorized as horror or scary, but I think it's just a classic film that like usually everyone knows the first one. Yeah. And that just snowballed into me like having a fixation about all the rest.
Yeah.
And then it's also a double-sided coin because I'm like, I love Scream, and then also I love live-action Scooby-Doo.
Yeah.
That is a great movie. I could talk about that movie in itself also for hours.
Because you're such a strange person.
You cannot tell me there is a better casted thing than Scooby-Doo live action.
That's true.
Sarah Michelle Gellar as Daphne.
Yeah.
Freddie Prinze Jr. as Fred. And they're, first off, like, second off, married in real life.
Yeah.
Can't tell me a better
Adorable.
romantic origin story.
Who's Shaggy?
Matthew Lillard. Let me just say, throw it back.
That's
What else was he in? Oh, he was in Scream.
And what else was he in recently?
Oh, Five Nights at Freddy's.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
Dun, 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 dun.
Faith was like, oh my God, I don't remember if like you like, but you were like, oh my God, like you love Matthew Lillard. Like you, and
Yeah.
I don't know why.
He's just a good dude.
Anything,
Like never met him, but just anything that he's in, like he just puts his all in. And also, I don't know why I'm blanking on Velma, but
she was.
Dude, I know her name.
Also, you're like a. It's funny because Faith, like I always say about her, or I said before about her memory. You have like a steel trap memory.
Yeah, I try to, and then now I'm like blanking on the iconic woman who plays Velma.
True.
Which
we'll think.
I need to look it up. It's gonna bug me. I don't
But
even know where my phone. Oh, we're recording on my phone.
Oh, mine's off. Sorry.
Right, sorry. Oh my God, I'm gonna remember it down. It's gonna piss me off that I don't remember.
Just spit it out when it shows up.
I don't know.
When it shows up in your brain, just let it out.
All right. Sorry, I'm like too much media going in my head right now. I'm going back and forth, back and forth.
Hey man, I want to introduce everybody.
Lisa Cardarelli. There we go.
Yes.
Shout out, iconic. That cast is just so good. Okay.
Sorry.
Please warn. Please warn.
Stinky.
Ooh, if I start gagging in 2 seconds and this shit cuts out, just know he violated as hell because those Onieville wieners and onions are gonna get my ass.
Yeah. So we talked about movies, we talked about TV shows, we talked about music, we talked about your background. Something else I think I'd want people to know about you is that you're in how do I say this? You're in a relationship with a woman.
Oh my God, I'm gay.
And I think that if I can use my platform for anything is that I want to talk about, being your total self, and that's why I love you so much. You've always been a person that is 100% totally yourself. But if you don't mind talking about this, like I didn't know about your sexuality. It's no one's business until senior year. How has that shaped you as a person, if you don't mind talking about that? And how has that made you a different person, or how have you seen it evolve in just like society in general? Because I feel like it's a lot more accepted. But but tell me about what you think.
I know it's funny because you always bring this up like freshman year. I remember we were at Palace Diner and we were talking about like celebrity crushes, I think. And I was like, oh yeah, like Haley Steinfeld, like blah, blah, blah. And you're like, dude, are you gay? Like, do you like girls? And I was like, what? Who said that? Like, cut the cameras. Yeah. And like to this day, it's still funny that I think about that because I fully knew at that point. Like I fully knew since I was like 15. Yeah. Fifth Harmony, shout out again, bringing it back.
Huge shout out.
But I think, I don't even know why. I think also going into college too, it was the perfect time for me to like express that I also liked girls. But for some reason, I just like didn't do it at that point. Not that like I wouldn't be, like I would be very vocal. Like I think if like some girl was like pretty and I was like, guys, like, hey, But I think it also brings back, I went to a Christian school for kindergarten through 8th grade. And we were never really taught about sexuality and all that. And if we were, I had a lot of older figures around me being like, that's not okay. Like being gay is not okay. It's like homosexuality is like a sin in the eyes of God in the Bible, which is totally not true. I'm not that religious anymore. Like I don't think I ever really was, but going to that school and having that surrounding me was also kind of like in the back of my brain. And even in high school, like I was more open to it. Like I had these really 2 close friends that I actually like, that was the first time that I told them, I was like, oh my God, I have a like crush on a girl and like blah, blah, blah. And even then I was like, oh my God, this is real. Like this is real. And I told them, and I feel like sometimes more, I was like more authentic senior year in that sense. Cause I was surrounded by people that were also like in the community. Yeah. And I feel like being around those people, you become more comfortable with yourself. Yeah. And I think going into college, I didn't see any of that freshman year. I started to see more people like sophomore year, junior year.
Yeah.
And then senior year was like such a turning point for me because I just realized like I didn't give a shit anymore.
Yeah.
Because like, I don't know, like I had a crush on a girl.
Yeah.
But I think that like turning point for me was just like these are my best friends. Like I want to tell them.
Yeah.
Like obviously you and Nick would always tell me like, oh, like if you liked someone or whatever.
Yeah.
And like I wanted also that. Like not that I wouldn't tell you guys if I had a crush on someone,
Yeah.
but I think at that point it was just such a like an emotion that I was like, oh my God, like I don't give a shit anymore. Like, okay, like I just started talking about it freely like one day. And I think we were like in the kitchen and I was like, no guys, like I like girls, by the way. And they're like, well, what? You never told us this before? I'm like, did you not see it?
So the way that it happened, we're not going to say names, but Faith had a crush on this one person. And she goes, yeah, like you said something along the lines of like, yeah, like I really like blank. And I remember my face just went like red. And I was like, what? I looked at Nick and I was like, you mean like you like her? And you go, yeah. And I go, oh, okay. I was like, because I always expected that it would be like someone they sit you down and are like,
yeah, like it was very
Nick,
nonchalant.
Ben, I like the same sex as me.
Gotta say
but
something.
It was literally just like off the shoulder. And
well,
I was
also very, I think, in that headspace in the time too. I was like, I don't believe in coming out. Like, not that I don't believe in it. Like, I think, like, obviously I had to come out to my parents because they didn't know, or maybe they always knew. I don't know. But I throw back to the picture of me with the sword. Like, how did you not know? But yeah, I think in college it was just one of those things where, like, I would tell someone if they asked at that point in my life. Like, even junior year, if someone asked me, I think I was like, oh yeah, like, I think someone did ask me in junior year, and I was like, yeah, I like girls. Like, what about it? Like, it's a very nonchalant thing. But then again, like I said, I didn't really see it in college until like junior, senior year. So I never, like, if you never see something being represented around you, I think sometimes in the back of your head, you're like, okay, like, that's not me, because I don't see it happening all the time. Especially in college, like with like hookup culture and everything. Never really heard or saw like two girls like hanging out at the bar, two boys hanging out at the bar, even though you knew it was happening in certain circumstances. You
see it, online, and you see it in the media, and you see it in different things like that, but you don't see it in person. So you're like, okay, maybe that's just like being perceived. Excuse me.
Oh, not in the microphone this time?
I know, I should have done it. You don't see it in front of you exactly, so you may think that, like, maybe I'm in the minority, so I'm going to keep this silent.
Which brings me back to media consumption, because anytime there was a representation in a show, I'd be like, all right, I saw it on Twitter, like two girls like kissing. I'd be like, all right, I'm watching the show, guys. All right, representation matters.
I was about to ask you about this. So do you think representation is incredibly important? Or do you think that it's something that is, it's nice to have, but like you feel like it's not super, or what is your take on it?
I think representation is so important for any scale, like in media, movies are media, but even in like any sort of media, writing, books, TV shows, movies, I mean, in real life too, like if you see something, you're like, oh shit, like that's cool. Yeah. Like even bringing back to movies, like Black Panther, like young black children growing up, like never saw that. And that was like incredible to see. And now I'm trying to think of like a gay superhero, and like my mind's kind of coming to a blank, which is crazy. All this
because I try to say, like, as a person who's always their self, and that, you happen to be gay as well, some people would think that it would stop you. Like some people feel, maybe it would stop them from being the person that they want to be. So if someone's watching this and they're like, well, I mean, like, she seems really confident. She seems like she can like chase everything she wants. She can be in a nice relationship. She can have great friends. What would you say to someone, not even has to be in the community? What would you say to someone that's kind of feeling like, I just feel like it's all the stuff that's going on for her, it's not supposed to happen to me? What would you say to somebody watching that right now? There
was a line that I told Ben and Nick freshman year that I would do a little singy song to. If you're not yourself, then who are you?
Ugh,
dude,
and
they would hate when I said that, but like it's true. Like even growing up, if like just be yourself, because at the end of the day, if you're trying to be someone you're not, like you're gonna keep trying to be that person, and you're never gonna be satisfied with yourself. And I think the most I've ever been myself was probably like junior and senior year of college, and I mean, if I wasn't myself, wouldn't have bagged my girlfriend. Shout out to Morgan.
Shout out to Morgan. We do love Morgan. I wasn't sure if you wanted to talk about her.
I will talk about her for hours. I would talk about her for days, weeks, months, years. I love her so much with all my heart. And like, I'm like getting giddy. Like,
I know. Faith.
Still don't know how I bagged that one.
Yes, Faith. So that is its own story, which is just more of a personal story, which I don't really want to talk. I don't want to talk about because I don't want to. It's a great story.
It's just such.
If you ever meet us in person, maybe we'll tell you the story. But that's another thing. People, I think it's great that you said if you're not yourself, who are you?
Yeah.
And I mean,
it's cheesy to say.
You're very yourself, and I think that like people obviously always resonate with it, and that's why I wanted to have you on so bad.
Yeah.
I think that's so true. Like, and also like you said, like that being yourself led you to have the life you have right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, I don't think that you'd change it for anything. I mean, I know
you,
and you're very grateful, person. And what else?
It got me to where I am today. Like I live in Boston now.
Oh, we can talk about Boston too.
But I'm originally from Rhode Island. Loved Rhode Island. I still love it. I'm here now, obviously. Moved to Boston though. I live with Morgan, and it's just I love it. It's just we always talk about it, how a lot of our friends live in New York, and I think it's so important for both of us to have that support system around you. Yeah. Because like there's a lot of days like on the weekends, you'll be out and about hanging with like all the New York gang, and we're like just sitting, which like I love doing, like just hanging out.
I know what you mean. I think I know what you mean.
You know? And I think that's the only downside of being where I am in Boston, but I do love Boston. I like how close it is to home. Like I get to come home whenever, like I'm only an hour drive, which is so nice.
Yeah, that is nice.
I like being able to, we can walk to the T. It's very accessible. I still have my car there, so we can drive up to like upstate Mass, like New Hampshire. Yeah. I mean, my job's there, so that's why I'm there. Yeah, sitting in an office desk job.
If you're just listening, I was glaring at the camera. Whenever you hear Faith talking and you hear a pause from me, that's because I'm doing the invisible camera look at like for our listeners. Yes, exactly. But one of my biggest dilemmas, and I'm saying this because I love you, is that I hate everything because Faith is one of the most talented, sweet, loving people that I've ever met in my whole life, but she has to she can't do the things
bills.
She has to pay the bills, and that's what's so frustrating. Which is that like sucks. If the world could just see the type of person she was, people would pay bills for throw money to do what you love because you're such exactly they would throw money at you to do what you love because it's just like you're so good at everything that you do. Thank you. But yes, you work right now at like a desk job, and how has that been? When it comes to your creative ability, creative outlet, do you still write as much? Or, it sucks.
It's like it's one of those things that because I'm at a desk all day, you would think I don't have a lot to do here and there. Like when I have stuff to do, I have stuff to do, obviously. But I feel like that's a lot of 9 to 5 jobs or 8 to 4s. Yeah. But you would think because I have so much downtime, I would have such a creative jolt in my brain to be like, oh my God, I'm thinking of this. I'm thinking of a new song, or I'm thinking of new media. What can I do? But because I'm in that area of which I think like this is all that I am right now, sitting at a desk, my brain cannot fathom doing something else. Like I rot away at my desk when I don't have stuff to do, and I'll just consume YouTube videos. Yeah. Which, not that it's horrible, because I enjoy watching like Pokemon vendor YouTube videos, which I've gotten into recently. Not Pokemon. I've been obsessed with Pokemon forever. But just watching that, like my eyes are so drained after the day. Like as soon as I get back to my apartment and like it's just me and Morgan hanging out, and like we're watching YouTube, which I love because we're doing it together. Yeah. But I'm just thinking the whole day, like I'm at my desk, and I don't like, there's certain days where there aren't a lot of people in office, so I'm not having a lot of interaction with other people, which also is like detrimental to my mental health. Yep. And sometimes it just sucks because I'm like, I'm sitting at a desk not doing something I love. So why am I here? But then you thinking I'm just paying the bills. Yeah. You work to live, not live to work. They always say that. And I think that's true. but I just want to wake up and be able to like love what I do.
Yeah.
Like I used to work with kids. I was a teacher's assistant, and there's not a day that went by. There was hard days, I'll tell you that, but every single day I would wake up and be like, oh my God, I get to see the kids. Like they are just such like slimers too. You will never meet a more genuine, authentic person than 5, 6, and 7-year-olds. 5 or 6 years, yes. Yeah, like kindergarten kids, they will tell you how it is, straight up, whatever they want to tell you. And I just love them for it.
Yeah. I mean, it's commendable.
Yeah, and it brought joy to your day. So, and I was up and about, like I was interacting with different people and all the kids every day, and I felt like I was actually making an impact on their lives. Like at the end of the day, they're kindergartners, but there's pivotal moments.
There's pivotal moments that they'll remember for the rest of their lives. That they'll
remember, and like lessons that they're being learned, and it just.
Can we tell the story about those 2 kids?
Which ones?
That story where they were. Do you know the story I'm talking about?
Where they were kissing?
Yeah. Can we tell that? I mean, I don't think it's like creepy. It was just very funny because like kids are evolving and changing.
Yeah,
like, it's like,
which brings us back to the point that you were bringing up before, like representation.
Exactly, representation. Like telling kids that like, all right, like that's fine. Can you tell that story?
Also, like kids, I think it not connects back to like representation, but more so, kids are so much more open-minded than adults.
Yeah.
Like they are taught things.
Yeah.
From adults that have either bad mindsets or certain 100%. Things. Yep. Like that's just how it goes. But it's just funny seeing kids in their like natural habitat of just being kids.
They're
like,
just curious.
They're just curious. Like they don't care. They'll ask any question and you tell it how it is and they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Long story short, there was these two kids one day. I'm literally doing
this is so fun.
I'm doing a craft with one of the girls there, and all of a sudden I hear this like behind me, and I'm like, there's no shot. I'm like, I hear giggling. They're like, oh my God, do it again. Do it again.
Do it again. I want to talk about that.
So I turn around. I don't see anything. And I'm like, hey guys, like what's going on? And they're like, oh, nothing, Miss Sully, nothing. And I'm like, okay. Turn back around here. And then I turn back. And these 2 boys are kissing. And they're like, oh my God, do it again. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to stop this. Like, I'm 23 years old. I should not be doing this. I'm like, I should be at the club. Like,
yeah, like, I'm telling you, I'm like, look.
Be doing this.
You're like, look, it's fine that you do that, just not at school.
Yeah, I was like, guys, that's an outdoor activity.
Yes, that's what you said, an outdoor activity.
I go, out of school activity. Like, guys, don't be doing that. And they're like, oh, we weren't doing anything. I'm like, okay, I don't want to be hearing smooches again.
Yeah. But I bring up that story because it's
just funny because kids really don't give a shit. And I think that's like the best quality about people in general.
I think that's you hit the nail on the head. That's just
little
like
humans.
I think before what you said when you said about the kids, like they just are like totally curious about everything, and they're just like, what did you say exactly? You said, I mean, it was
like open-minded.
They're so open-minded.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's such a good way to put it. Like, they really are. And I mean, even when I worked with kids, right now it's 2024. I worked with them.
That was a little one. Sorry.
That was a little burp. I worked with kids this past summer, and I saw the same thing. It was just like they have so much potential, and it's just like it's such a shame that so many of them will get their like ideas shut down and like totally thrown out the window because it's just like not standard to what is normal around them. But it's just like it's so interesting hearing Faith's stories about these like 5-year-old kids that are just like doing whatever they want to do.
Yeah. They're just so funny. Like every single day I'd come home with a story.
Yeah, that was like the best.
And that's the best because you can like you create a good workplace environment. And at the end of the day, yes, I was doing a job, but also at the end of the day, I was having fun and making an impact on these little humans, like going around in the world.
Yeah, I mean,
like there was even a day that they're like, not to bring it back to being like gay, but there was a day where they were saying like, oh yeah, like, oh my God, he can be my boyfriend. Like I like him, like joking around how they were having crushes on people. Because that's literally how kindergartners are. The amount of times they would ask me, they're like, oh, do you have a baby? I'm like, no, I don't have a child. Like I'm 23 years old.
Yeah.
But there was one day they were like, oh, I have a crush on so-and-so. And it was a girl liking another girl, and the boys were like, no, you can't do that. And I was like, yes, you're allowed to do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was like against some rules somewhere.
I don't work there no more, so it doesn't matter.
I mean, yeah, I don't work there anymore. But like, it's genuinely like, you know, like if they have answers, I'm gonna tell them. Like the amount of times I would be on FaceTime with my girlfriend, and they'd be like, oh, who is that? And I'd be like, oh, it's my girlfriend. And they're like, oh, Miss Sully has a girlfriend. And they'd like tease me, going back to how kids are so open-minded. Like a lot of people that I tell nowadays if I'm like, oh yeah, I have a girlfriend, they're like, you get this sense of like, oh,
like nice,
like they're double thinking.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, kids are just so pure.
They're like, okay.
They're like, okay, and what about it? You ain't special. I picked my nose today and earned 5 stars. What about you?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know. I just got my check. Would you get 5 stars?
Oh, stop playing with them. Yeah, but I love that saga of your life. That was a great saga.
Yeah.
And right now you're in your job that you're in now, saga.
Yeah.
Which is fine. But I hope that
it's good for now. Like it's a nice job for now.
Yeah, exactly.
You're never stuck where you are.
True.
And I find that I always say that to a lot of people, and I'm trying to reel that into. Oh, my dog keeps barking.
I know.
Downstairs.
I don't know if you guys can hear.
I don't know if you can hear
the
it.
Dogs.
Taz is very vocal.
Faith owns 2 German Shepherds.
Macy and Taz. They're
Taz.
great, but they're barking a lot because probably someone's outside.
True.
And I don't even know.
Yes,
but going back to.
Well, yeah. What I was saying was, I love that saga of your life. You're never stuck, and I think that. Well, I mean, what time is it?
It's a starting point.
Because I really want to, because I think that would be a great segue into like, one thing I did in the Rose in the Rose episode was to kind of end off was like, what is one piece of advice that you would give other people that you got and you wish you got sooner?
Ooh.
We could end on that, or just like, what's like something that you kind of live your life by? Because people will see this episode and hopefully see like the bright shiningness that is you, and they'll be like, I wish I could, channel that. Well, I mean, I know I kind of asked you before already, but like, not even if you're in the community, if you're just like a normal person sitting at home, like that's just, I can't do that.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, I feel like. I don't even know if it's cheesy to say, but like at the end of the day, you really do only have one life, and life is so precious. Yeah. And we've learned that like a lot recently, especially.
Yeah.
And just going back to if you're not yourself, then who are you? Like you have this one life to live. So literally do whatever you find joy in doing, because when we're like, we live on a rock, a floating rock,
a floating molten rock in the middle of the universe.
Space. Where there's so much shit going on in the world, like especially nowadays with like different shit every single day, and like you just being grateful to wake up and walk out the door is such a blessing that we don't realize we have.
Yeah, until it's taken away.
Yeah, until it's taken away, and it just live every day. It's cheesy, but live every day like how you want. Sweet. Because even in the little things you're doing, like. I get up, go do my 9-to-5 job. Like, I just want to do something once that day that brings me joy.
Yeah.
Like, doing something once every day for yourself that brings you joy so you can go to bed at night and being like, all right, I did have a good day today. And even if you didn't, there's always tomorrow. You wake up, try again, and just...
Never give up.
Never give up. Like I said, you're never stuck. You are never stuck as much as people want to tell you to be.
Yes.
Especially... being younger, we're only 24 years old. We are not stuck. We are in our like legit first phase of life, and sometimes we forget that. Yeah. Shout out to Taylor Swift and Phoebe Bridgers.
Yes, I do love it. One of the best songs to ever be created, ever is
so
Nothing New by
Nothing
Taylor
New.
Swift and Phoebe Bridgers.
How do you know everything at 18 but nothing at 22? I don't know, Taylor.
I don't know.
Phoebe,
I don't know how you knew that.
I don't know.
The fuck?
I felt like I knew everything at 18. No, I didn't. I like Fifth Harmony was my life, and now it's not really. So that's just how crazy life changes.
You thought
and
you knew it, and then
I thought I knew everything. Then I didn't, and now I was 22, still didn't know anything. Now at 24, still don't know anything.
Yep.
So really, there's nothing new.
Don't be too hard on yourself.
Don't be too hard on yourself. You're never stuck.
Yep.
Love every day. Love everyone.
You never
tell everyone that you love them.
Yeah. Oh, 100%.
The people that you care about, care for deeply and immensely.
Exactly.
And that's how I try to live, because I am so grateful for all my friends and everyone around me, especially this one. Shout out. Love him to death. Greatest kid ever. Thank you for being who you are and having me on this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, she'll probably be she'll be like the Duncan Trussell of the Joe Rogan podcast. Whoa. Because Duncan Trussell has made 67 appearances on the Joe Rogan podcast. Shit. I just saw that fact recently, and that'll probably be you, because you have so much in your brain that like I just want to like keep like exposing it to like,
Picking.
as much as I can. Again, like I said, if I can add on to that, like I said at the end of last episode, if you're watching this, I want you to go and try whatever you want to try. And like I said in the end of the last video, again, if you want to do, if no one is telling you, well, someone needs to like, I want to like count on someone that like, want to make someone proud. Tell them I sent you. Tell them if they're like, oh, well, who told you to do that? Tell them I did. If you're like, I want to.
Faith sent you too.
Exactly. If you want to try something new, I believe in you and I trust in you and I think you could do it.
And believe in yourself too.
Yeah. And the words of Kentaro Miura, you are not a subject to. You are not subject to fate. That's what Berserk's all about. Is that like he escapes his own fate. And you're not. You can. You have free will. You can do whatever the hell you want to do.
Have faith.
Have faith.
Oh.
Have faith.
Sorry, guys.
That was corny, and we're gonna end on that. Thank you so very
Thanks
much,
for
Faith, for coming on here. And
Slimer.
is there anything else you want to end off on, or you think that's kind of good, right?
That's pretty much it. I think we covered a lot, and sorry if we get tangent minds, scatterbrain, bring it back.
That's what it is. This is the beginning. This is the beginning, man. It is what it is.
Yep.
All right. Thank you very much for watching.
Bye, guys.
We'll see you next time.
I'm like clap.